Hi everyone, it's day 2 of Spellbinder's Crafty Advent Calendar. I was excited when I opened up the door and saw this beautiful floral stamp with an accompanying sentiment. It feels like everything I've been working on the past few weeks is Christmas, 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 which I absolutely love, don't get me wrong. But it is nice to change things up. Just look at this gorgeous little stamp set. It's a busy time of year, so I decided that I would do a very simple watercolor. I'm working on black watercolor paper. If you haven't seen this, I have a link in the description of this video. The image is going to be stamped several times using Versamark ink and embossed in gold. So apparently I wasn't quite in the right headspace when I was crafting and didn't have the right tool. So I switched up my small MISTI for the larger MISTI. Now I can get the image running off the edges of the panel. So then I decided that I would move things along a little bit more quickly, and I ended up switching out the larger MISTI for an acrylic stamping block. Yep, some days the struggle is real. I'm not going to tell you that I'm switching up again because this is the final method that I've decided on to stamp the rest of the panel, and I was able to stamp 2 or 3 images at once, and that really did make this go quickly and smoothly. But after knocking off some of the stray powder with my paintbrush, I did end up using anti-static powder. And these final 2 stamped images complete the panel. I love it when you get a sentiment that can be used for a variety of occasions or reasons. Sending good thoughts is one of those sentiments. It is being stamped with Versamark ink on a strip of vellum paper. I've made sure that it's long enough that it can wrap around the panel, but I will trim down the width of it. I'm working with a small set of watercolors by Iol. These paints have mica and they're super shimmery. I won't be doing any gradients. I'm just going to be painting the images, and this goes very quickly. Start off by painting all of the leaves in green. I first add a droplet of water to the paints before I start working with them. This will help soften them up, and it makes it much easier to pick up the color. And the power of editing, I finished up the leaves and I'm moving on to the red roses. Because I'm not trying to achieve a gradient, I'm going to be applying the color fairly thickly so it goes on solid. Because there's more exposed watercolor paper with the floral portion of the images, it makes it much easier to see this. You can see how beautifully these paints cover the black paper. And when all of the roses have been painted, then I'll go in with a pretty lilac color and do all of the little 4-petaled flowers. The repeat stamping really creates a beautiful background, and the addition of these shimmery paints, when the light hits it, it is gorgeous. I'm going to use the gold paint from the set to create some spatter. I don't want a ton of spatter, so I'm using a small paintbrush so that it is fine and I can control how much goes on. I'm using the Tim Holtz paper cutter to trim down this strip of vellum. I mention it because it has a press plate, and when you're cutting vellum, it can slip, so the press plate makes it so easy. And after I've trimmed down one side, I'll flip it over and quickly trim the other side. The sentiment is centered on the lower portion of the panel, and then I take the ends and fold them over, use a little bit of Scotch tape to hold them in place. I'm going to cover the back of the panel well with liquid adhesive, and then it will be adhered to a matte gold panel. The watercolor panel measures 4 by 5 1/4 inches. The gold one is just a little bit larger at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then this project is finished up when it's adhered to an A2 size black card base. I hope you enjoyed today's video featuring Day 2 of Spellbinder's Crafty Advent Calendar. Stay tuned for a super fun project featuring Day 3. Thank you for stopping by, and as always, I appreciate your visit.